Today is Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, Virginia has extended its voter registration deadline after the site went down yesterday on the last day. We'll tell you how long voters in Virginia can now register. Michigan is one of the battleground states in play. We'll talk to Detroit NAACP president about getting souls to the polls. Also, the Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to end the census counting tomorrow. We will explain further. Brigham Young University in Idaho issued a warning about college students intentionally trying to contract COVID-19 to make money. And the Trump administration is embracing herd immunity. In other words, let coronavirus spread naturally. Really? 2 victims of sexual assault at Pace Academy, a prestigious school in Atlanta, have filed a lawsuit against the school. We'll get details about that from the attorney. And Ice Cube, the Trump folks say that Ice Cube partnered with them on Trump's platinum plan. Plus, in today's Black Tech segment, we'll show you smart T-shirts with scannable QR codes that take you to voter registration information. And the dog walking Central Park Karen has been charged with filing a false report. Turns out she called the police twice. And today's crazy-ass white person comes to us from Utah. Wait till you see this nut. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin!
A federal court has extended Virginia's voter registration deadline after an accidentally clipped fiber optic cable took down the Department of Elections website on Tuesday for hours on the final day of voter registration. Voters in Virginia will now be able to register until 11:59 p.m. on Thursday, in person or online. Joining us now is Judith Brown Diana. She's the executive director of the Advancement Project National Office. Judith, this obviously is a big deal here in terms of the decision made. We had the Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax on yesterday, and I'm still trying to understand how a power line is accidentally clipped on the last day of voter registration. But luckily, this ruling came down, and people will still be able to register.
Yeah, I think this is important. Number one, it's important because people have 2 more days to register until tomorrow at midnight, which is important. Something similar happened in Virginia in 2016, where there was another lawsuit and they got another 36 hours, and over 25,000 people registered in that 36-hour window. So this is important. There's because the last thing we want to do is make it harder for people to register, right? But that's in Virginia, right? And the governor and the lieutenant governor were actually on our side. But we had to go to court because they had to be ordered to actually extend the deadline. Unlike Florida, where we also had to sue, I think that was last week, we sued the state of Florida for a similar problem where on the very last day, their site went down and people were caught not being able to register. And there they extended it until midnight the next day, but they fought us tooth and nail for any further extension. So in Florida, we have a governor who's not friendly to people voting, and versus Virginia, where they really want an inclusive democracy, you get a different result.
Look, one of the things that I'm constantly trying to do is to get people to connect the dots. Mm-hmm. The only reason this is being extended is because a federal judge made the decision. Mm-hmm. So if you don't vote for president and you don't vote for the Senate race, or if you do vote and you vote for the wrong folks, then that then determines who these federal judges are. In Texas, a federal judge ruled against the governor's decision to only limit each county to 1 mail drop box. that got appealed to the Fifth Circuit. A 3-judge panel, all Trump appointees, ruled in favor of the governor, overturning that decision. If you don't have federal judges who care about voting rights, you're not going to see these type of rulings.
That's right. And this, I mean, that Texas is a great example of that, where, you have a governor who is an opponent of voting rights, who wanted to make it harder to voters, and then you have a federal bench. And that's important, that these judges, and the Trump administration has appointed more judges in their 4 years than President Obama did in 8 years. And so that impact is going to be an impact for forever. If we think about this Supreme Court nominee, right? This Supreme Court nominee is very important because not only is the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, going to be decided, a case going to be decided the week after election, and this person could be sitting there, but also this judge will probably be involved in a voting rights case related to the election and the presidential race. And so, yeah, it's very important. It's all connected, and we should not think that it is not.
And the thing here is, again, when you see these type of attacks on voting, in this case, a power line gets cut. But again, when we talk about what is happening in these other states, there is a very clear effort by the Republican Party to limit people from voting because they know if they shrink the electorate, they have a better chance of winning. Yesterday, more than 1 million Texans cast early ballots, and they haven't even done a final tabulation. That's a record.
That's right. I mean, this is, I always think if people say, oh, you're talking partisan. Actually, I'm not talking partisan. I'm talking fact. The Republican Party across the board has tried to make it harder to vote, including in a pandemic. So the lawsuits that have been filed about are lawsuits where we're trying to expand opportunities to vote, make people safe so they don't have to choose between their health and the right to vote. Meanwhile, Republican governors and election officials are trying to make sure that, oh, you actually should have your ballot in on election day, not postmarked by election day. Or we're not going to do drop boxes everywhere because we actually don't want you to be able to drop off your ballot because we don't want your ballot in the first place. So this, it comes down to them trying to save their party, save their guy in the White House, but it's also targeted at Black people because they know that when we turn out, there's going to be, we're a different electorate, and we are not going to support people who don't support our rights.
But and for people to understand, Anthony, go to my iPad. Appeals court dismisses Texas GOP lawsuit over drive-through voting in Harris County. They literally are bitching about drive-through voting. And the judges rule that there is no harm for the GOP when it comes to drive-through voting. They literally are pissed about drive-through voting. That has nothing to do whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They want to stop any effort to make it easier for people to vote. Here are folks trying to stay safe by remaining in their cars. Republicans like, no. We want y'all to get the hell out of your cars, standing long lines and wait.
That's right. And the reason they're doing that is because they're hoping that we'll get frustrated and we will make a choice to stay home. That is exactly why their calculation is if we make them jump through hoops, then they won't vote. And clearly, if we look at Georgia, if we look at Texas, we look at these long lines, people are saying, the heck with that. I'm standing in this line as long as I can. But literally, what's it to you, Roland, to be able to have drive-through? And it's not even drive. First of all, there should be places where you can drive up and cast your ballot right there, right? Like curbside voting. Okay. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about your mail-in ballot being able to have a drop box that you put it in, right? They don't want us to have that. What's it to you that you have more than one? As long as you have it's secured, it has cameras, all of that, like other places have done, what's it to you? What's it to them is that they just don't want us to vote.
Look at this story right here from Kyle Griffin. It's actually a piece, he tweeted this piece, I'm sorry, from the Washington Post. Videos show closed door sessions of leading conservative activists Be not afraid of the accusations that you're a voter suppressor. This is what the lead said. As the presidential campaign entered its final stages, a fresh-faced Republican activist named Charlie Kirk stepped into the spotlight at a closed-door gathering of leading conservatives and shared his delight about an impact of the coronavirus pandemic, the disruption of America's universities. So many campuses had closed, he said, that up to 500,000 left-leaning students probably would not vote. So please keep the campuses closed, he said to a cheering audience, like it's a great thing.
I mean, it's like, so you want to open the businesses, right? But keep the campuses closed, because keeping the campuses closed keeps you in office. I mean, this is, the hypocrisy of it all, which really is about them knowing that young people are not voting for them. Young people see the handwriting on the wall. They want their college debt wiped out, right? And the Republicans ain't going for that. And so they want to make this. Girl just went off to college. She's in Louisiana. And I will tell you, it's very difficult for young students on campuses to vote, to figure out all of the rules. And so we need to understand that these rules
are supposed to be a tax-exempt charity. This is what he said, okay? He called on the audience to find a way to prevent mail-in ballots from being sent to voters. Quote, "We need to stop those ballots from going out, and I want the lawyers here to tell us what to do. But this is a crisis that we're not prepared for." I mean, our side is not prepared for. Our side.
Mm-hmm. He's clear on who his side is, right? And his side is not our side. And he's clear, and that is the thing, is that the right is they're unabashedly, unapologetically all about their power, and they don't care who gets in the way. And they have these little, this is not the first time that we've heard these stories about these backroom meetings where they start to show their colors. And it just so happens that somebody's in the room who's taping it, and they are going after us. And so, but at the end of the day, this is the thing, is that the power that we have is underscored by the length that they will go to actually stop us from voting. And they understand that people are not in favor of the things that are happening in this country, and that we're gonna go out and vote, and and that Black people in particular, we shouldn't have to go through all these hoops. We shouldn't have to jump over barriers, but we're gonna do it because we know what is at stake. And this election in particular, our health is at stake. The economy is at stake. Our families are at stake. Education is at stake. And so there's too much for us on this ballot to sit on the sidelines and let them win by putting up barriers.
Again, not only that, so here you had Donald Trump bitching and moaning about ballot harvesting. But check this out. According to this Washington Post story, where they obtained videotapes from these conservative activists, Ralph Reed, Faith and Freedom Coalition, another tax-exempt group, supposed to be nonpartisan. This is what he says. And so our organization is going to be harvesting ballots in churches. We're going to be specifically going in not only to white evangelical churches, but into Hispanic and Asian churches and collecting those ballots.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, like, it's okay for them to do it, right? Like, even the thing in California where the GOP set up drop boxes, and put official on it, acting like it was really official, but it wasn't. All they're doing is they're doing the same harvesting thing. This is the thing. It's like they really cannot get their story straight, right? Because on the one hand, Trump is saying don't vote by mail. On the other hand, the party is saying vote by mail. Oh, but not you people. Don't you vote by mail. We meant these other people. And so this is, it's just showing their true colors and what they're about. And so, we've got to just be prepared to handle our business. I went the other day, I saw the drop boxes in Maryland. I'm looking forward to filling out my ballot this weekend and dropping it in one of those drop boxes. And so we have to take the steps to protect ourselves, wipe out all the disinformation and misinformation and make sure that we cast our ballot.
Well, I voted yes. I voted yesterday in Dallas County, so I've already
Did you
got
use that
that.
one drop box?
No, I went to the polls. No, I went to the polls.
Okay.
We did
How
that.
long was the line?
Line wasn't long. Folks were in line, but it also helps when your parents work the polls, so you understand all the different places where you can vote. So,
Right, where to go. That's
so
right.
people are actually doing well. So, Judith Brown, Diana, I certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Roland.
All right, appreciate it. Want to bring in my panel right now to further talk about this. A. Scott Bolden, former chair, National Bar Association Political Action Committee. Robert Patillo, executive director, Rainbow Push Coalition Peachtree Street Project. Michael Brown, former vice chair, DNC Finance Committee. This is real simple, Michael. This is real simple what we're seeing here, and that is Republicans don't give a damn about the voting rights of people of color. They don't care about the voting rights of everybody. They care about their side, largely white people voting. We see the games that they're playing, and I said it, and I don't care what people say. If you black and you voting for Donald Trump, you're voting against your own people. You're voting for thieves. You're voting for a Republican Party that is hell bent on stealing elections. They want to put up every barrier. Yes, I don't care what anyone says. You can't